Hello everyone! In honor of Venom, I thought I'd go over my favorite Spider-Man films. Now this will include my personal favorites, going from my least favorite to most favorite. I've been a Spider-Man fan ever since the 90s cartoon on Fox Kids. I used to love watching that show. I also used to love playing the PS1 Spider-Man game. And when the Tobey Maguire films came out, my fandom hit an ultra high. Spider-Man used to be my second favorite hero, right under Batman. Now, this list will include Spider-Man all the way to Spider-Man Homecoming and not have any of the other films like Civil War, even though I love his appearance in that. Starting with my least favorite is Spider-Man 3. Now, Spider-Man 3 has its moments, but it's just really weak after the first two films of the Raimi trilogy. And because of that, I felt like the franchise has never recovered, and my fandom for the character was damaged right after Spider-Man 3. Ultimately, they try to do too much in this film. You can tell Sam Raimi had a lot of passion for the Sandman, and they set up the new Goblin in the first two films, but Venom felt shoehorned in, and I didn't like Topher Grace's portrayal, even though it was a bit more comic book accurate compared to the newer film. You also had Gwen Stacy added, and then Peter Parker really being his own worst enemy. But I think what really damaged this film is the fact that they said Sandman was really Uncle Ben's killer. I did not like that, and I didn't like the emo Peter Parker stuff. That really bogged the film down, and it really made you question, wow, the same people who were involved in the first two films did this film? What happened? They really could have just had the Green Goblin as Harry Osborn be the villain. I really wanted to see him and MJ get married. I didn't like the drama they added. I did like that he had to listen to her more and be a supportive husband, but at the same time, he was trying to help Mary Jane, and she wasn't listening. Did she forget her boyfriend was Spider-Man? A lot of stuff could have been avoided in this film with better writing, but it does have its moments, even though some of the effects may look really, really dated now. I do like the moment between Peter Parker and Harry at the beginning. I do like the construction site save. I do like some of the Peter Parker stuff. It's like with Eddie Brock, where it's like it's time to put a little dirt in your eye and how far he goes. I like the Venom fight at the end with Sandman. It does have strong themes of forgiveness, but ultimately, I felt like they had too little of Venom and just overstuffed the film way, way too much. And it was kind of a lackluster ending for the Sam Raimi trilogy. It's just a shame we never had a fourth film. Above that is Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, this film is both the best Spider-Man film and the worst Spider-Man film in one film. There's a lot of great moments, but there's a lot of really, really bad moments. It's a paradox in a way. Another example of overstuffing your film. Sony did not learn their lessons from Spider-Man 3, and they try to set up a franchise with this film. Also, I like the use of the eyes on his suit. It's like the Tobey Maguire suit put with the Ultimate Spider-Man suit, but if you're going to make it look like Tobey Maguire's suit, what was the point of rebooting anyway? It just feels like they try to do too much to set up Sinister Six. But I did like the Electro moments. They really should have used one villain. What hurt this film was the Rhino, Sinister Six setup, and Harry Osborn being the Green Goblin instead of Norman Osborn and that whole relationship. Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, I did like some moments, but you could definitely tell their real-life chemistry was affecting the on-screen chemistry, and it just felt like it was too much. I did like the stuff exploring Peter Parker's parents, and I did also like the Electro performance from Jamie Foxx. He kind of had an Edward Nygma-esque arc going on. I really love the Electro stuff. That final fight is brilliant. I love Spider-Man saving people. Him going through stuff, trying to be a hero, and people kind of like dismissing that, thinking he's harmful. Other people thinking he's a hero. So it's nice seeing that divide in New York. Above all, there's a lot of great moments, but it wasn't enough to save the film overall. And it's just sad because there's some really awesome moments with Hans Zimmer's score regarding Electro and that Gwen Stacy death. Not 100% like the comics, but still, her outfit and everything is such a sad moment that we see Peter Parker at his lowest and eventually become the Spider-Man we all know and love at the end. I really wish they made a good follow-up or just didn't try to rush things too much because I think Andrew Garfield is a very underrated actor as Spider-Man. Above that is Spider-Man Homecoming. I really enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming on my first viewing, but I think it really is hurt after repeated viewings. My main beef with this film is not that he's a kid. Peter Parker was a high school kid in the comics. My main beef with this film is that he's basically Iron Boy. Iron Man has to save his butt every time. I know he's inexperienced, I know he's a kid, but Peter Parker's supposed to be brilliant. He's supposed to be a scientist. And you don't really get to see that 100%. But I do love Michael Keaton as Vulture. He really made the film. It was a human villain, and there's some twists and turns that I really enjoyed. Again, the best Spider-Man films only have one main antagonist. I wasn't too keen on the multiple shockers, or Flash Thompson being some little nerdy kid. Like seriously, some little kid is gonna give Peter Parker trouble. I know it's bullying in a different way, but even without his powers, I think Peter Parker could have kicked his butt. It was nice having more of a John Hughes vibe other than the romantic comedy action film vibe. And I do want to see where Tom Holland goes. He does remind me of the comic book to a degree. The fairy part was really well done, and the ending. I like the theme of, like, it's not the suit that defines the hero or man, it's the man or hero that defines the suit. And I love that. A lot of Steve Ditko nods towards the end. And yeah, Spider-Man's in this Marvel universe. I just don't like him being a kid or playing second fiddle when Spider-Man's like the main hero. Like, he's his own hero. I think he could carry a film. I like to see where this kid goes and how he develops throughout the films, because I think he doesn't need any of the Avengers. Spider-Man can hold his own. Above that is The Amazing Spider-Man. Now this film, what really hurt this film is that they rebooted the Spider-Man series way too soon, but I like Sally Field as Aunt May and Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben, Dennis Leary as Captain Stacy, and we have Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. Andrew Garfield's first entry into Spider-Man. I like how stuff is homemade. I love how they have his web cartridges. Dr. Connors as the Lizard is great in this film. I really wish they used the actor from the original Spider-Man films. I don't know why they had to reboot it, but I did like this. Even though it was a bit more darker and gritty instead of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, they did have moments of humor, like with a knife scene. I love the moments where he had to save the kid. Different things like that. It was nice seeing a Spider-Man like deal with stuff in high school while also being very brilliant. His Peter Parker was intelligent. Now I know they had the whole here's a secret origin type of arc to it, but I really think this is an underrated film, and because it was a reboot and they had to go through the origin and a different actor so soon, I think that's what hurt it. But I do like the design of it. It's very different, and upon repeated viewings, I think I like this more than Homecoming, because at least this Spider-Man can hold his own and is more closer to like the Ultimate Spider-Man comics from the 2000s. And who could forget that final fight? I know he doesn't keep his promise to Gwen, but I like the setup and that ending. You can definitely tell this is a 3D gimmick, and it does make me wonder what Spider-Man 4 would have held. But if you look beyond that stuff and just look at the film on its own, I think it's an enjoyable Spider-Man film. May not be the best, but it's definitely one of the better ones out there. Above that is the original Spider-Man from 2002, the film that started it all. This was a great film. I remember seeing the trailer on Final Fantasy the year before that summer, and it had the World Trade Centers with the web. Such a powerful moment. They had to delay the film, and this was a very patriotic film when it came out, not only with the song Hero, but that ending is the best ending of any Spider-Man film. That moment is better than any film in the MCU. Seriously. Wow. But above that, it shows us a hero that is human, and we also get to see a hero who shows us what it means to be responsible. With great power comes great responsibility. Sam Raimi knocked it out of the park. Now, William Dafoe, Green Goblin, may not be 100% like the comics. He's in like a Power Ranger Dark Knight-esque outfit, but I loved his performance. Again, Spider-Man come out to play. I love that. Mary Jane, that upside down kiss is so iconic. So many brilliant moments. It is a bit dated, you can definitely tell it's early 2000s, but I love it. It's a fun, entertaining comic book film. And who could forget J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson? Just perfect casting. Tobey Maguire made this movie. He may not have looked like Peter Parker exactly from the comics, but his voice as Spider-Man is 100% Spider-Man, and I think he is the best Spider-Man. I don't give a care what people say. I think Tobey Maguire is still the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Seriously. He is. I love how they focus on high school. Everything about this felt like the earlier comics. It felt more faithful to his origins from the comic books. And he could hold his own. They also add organic webbing, and we do get to see MJ instead of Gwen Stacy, but besides those changes, I really love the film, him and Harry Osborn's relationship, how it changes, how he basically has to push everyone away from his life at the end of the movie. Everything in this was paid off in Spider-Man 2, but this is one of the best superhero origin films. Without this or X-Men, we may have not have had the modern MCU. And I also love that part at the end, that final fight. He's like, now that you really pissed me off, I'm gonna finish her nice and slow. Never mess with a man's girlfriend, but I also love the part where he's trying to save the kids and all the people start attacking Green Goblin. It's like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. It's like, you mess with Spider-Man, you mess with New York. I love that part. Such a perfect moment in that film. And the wrestling match, just so much stuff. When Uncle Ben's shot, it is tragic, and the music by Danny Elfman is what really makes this. I love this movie. Such a wonderfully crafted film. And my number one is still Spider-Man 2. Not only is it one of the greatest superhero sequels ever made, it's one of the greatest sequels and one of the greatest films ever made, especially comic book films. Before The Dark Knight, we had Spider-Man 2. It's a relatable story. It's just like the comics, but we also get a sympathetic villain with Dr. Otto Octavius, wonderfully portrayed by Alfred Molina. I love the stuff with Harry Osborn, the identity reveal, and MJ being with J. Jonah Jameson's son, and Peter Parker not having his abilities. Certain arcs from the comic books paid homage to. I love this film. This is such an awesome film. I was eagerly awaiting this film after Spider-Man. It was hyped big in 2004. Tobey Maguire almost didn't come back due to his injury on Seabiscuit, but I'm glad he did because this is one amazing film. The train fight is phenomenal. That last fight, so many great moments. There's moments of humor, moments of drama, and just moments of action and entertainment. I love the part with Aunt May talking to Peter Parker. It's like, there's a hero in all of us. The moment where he reveals that he was responsible for Uncle Ben's death. So many great moments, and who could forget that ending at the wedding? Oh my god. I love everything about this movie, and I think some of the new superhero films could learn a thing or two from Spider-Man 2. I don't care what people say, in my opinion, Spider-Man 2 is still the best Spider-Man film, and the closest thing we've gotten to it since its release has probably been the PS4 video game. I want to see a Spider-Man film like that again. It's just such a shame that after this wonderful film, we had Spider-Man 3, the reboots, and the other sequels, so it's just really sad, but I do love this film, and it has a perfect ending. While having Mary Jane kind of be worried and fearful of the future, even though she committed to Peter Parker. I just love that ending where she's like, go get him, Tiger, and he goes off. The raindrops falling on my head scene. You're fired, Parker. I just love all that stuff. Tobey Maguire gives his best performance here. Kirsten Dunst is great as MJ, and James Franco adds another layer to Harry Osborn. Who could forget that ending with the Goblin? Man, this film was just a tour de force, knockout of the park. It is my favorite. Anyway, that's my ranking of the Spider-Man films. Feel free down in the comments below. Let me know your personal ranking of your least favorite to most favorite Spider-Man films. You can follow me on the Stardust app at Fred Film Fanatic for more reactions, and check out some of my reviews and videos here on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.